Buenos días, buenas noches, buenas tardes, mi gente bonita que se encuentra mirando este podcast. Con ustedes, señor Piñón, me encuentro aquí para presentarte a Mariana Guillen, una maestra visitante que ahorita se encuentra en Vietnam, un país que también le tocó vivir lo que fue la crisis del COVID-19, pero que ahorita en ese país ellos ya regresaron al salón de clases. Entonces, te invito a que lo escuches para que aprendamos de las experiencias que ella nos va a compartir y asimismo te invito para que compartas conmigo ideas que tú puedas tener que tratemos en este podcast para maestros y para alumnos. Poco a poco iremos creciendo como comunidad y poco a poco iremos aprendiendo de los demás invitados que tengamos. Adelante.
Absolutely. Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, good night. I don't know when are you going to watch this podcast, but I am so happy to have in my podcast one special guest, Mariana, who is an incredible teacher, an incredible person, a friend of mine from school in Morelia. Yes, I just remember we were laughing a lot, we were playing
Yes.
jokes, we were just talking on the halls, and it was so
We
fun.
had a great time. We had a great time working
Yes,
there.
exactly. Right there. Okay, and we still have. Okay, now separated by the distance. Oh, well, this is just the introduction. Now I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Okay, but I would. Okay, so I wanna know who is Mariana.
Oh my God. I feel like this is a very hard question because I'm still figuring out who am I. Sometimes I try to remind myself uh, who am I, but like in general, I can tell you a little bit about myself. I am from Mexico. I've been working as an English teacher for a while now. And I'm a very adventurous person. I like to live new experiences. I like to um, get adapted to different uh, environments. I like to challenge myself. And I feel like this is a good way to grow. And yes, that's pretty much it. And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm also an open-minded person. I'm really open to learn new things. I'm really open to meet new people or to, take any opportunity. It does not matter you know,
Mm, totally agree with you. I mean,
challenges, yes, that come. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I can see. I can follow your life a little bit. Okay, on the Instagram. Oh, and well, you like adventure. You like doing new things. I remember you were in a picture wearing a dress, Mexican dress, in the FIFA World Cup in Russia.
Oh, yeah.
For me was like, wow, that's Mariana. That's a real person. She doesn't mind. I mean, it's not important for her what people is saying. And I can see you were smiling the whole time. So you were living the experience to be there.
Yeah. I remember that moment because for me it was a dream to go to the World Cup, to be honest. And I was like, oh, if I go to a match, a Mexican match, I was like, oh, this is the great opportunity to show part of my culture. Like, I don't care if it's a soccer match. I'm gonna dress like with this traditional Mexican dress because it's part of my culture. And the funny thing is that I couldn't even walk without having like groups of people like really asking me for a picture because for maybe for us as Mexicans it's like very normal, to see like these dresses, but for them that they never like Russians, I think that they never had like this experience of having this close all this group of Mexicans that were dressing this traditional custom. So it was like the great opportunity to have to learn more about us and to
Hmm.
take some pictures. Yeah. So I feel like yeah, I remember those days. It was really really fun.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, now, well, besides the experiences of traveling and going somewhere and elsewhere in the world, so as I say in the beginning, you are an incredible teacher. Yes,
Uh,
you are a teacher with a lot of experience. But why did you decide to become a teacher? What's behind that?
Let me tell you something. Being a teacher was not planned. It was nothing that I was like, oh, I want to be a teacher. It's something that it just happened. And when I was studying architecture, I remember that teaching was my part-time job. And I really enjoyed it. Even I had like a lot of homework because architecture, it's very demanding. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to go to school and everything. I never felt like, oh, I have to go to work and I have to go and teach. It was like this great moment where I could switch the chip and do something different. Teaching is way different than architecture. So I really enjoyed it. And then like after I finished my career, I gave a chance to start working in an office, but I realized that I couldn't handle being like in an office, sitting down in front of a computer, barely speaking. I was like, no, I really miss this other job teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided to go for teaching. And that's what I've been doing like for a while now. And that's what I'm doing here as well.
Awesome. Well, it's very interesting because myself, also at the beginning, I've never thought being a teacher, you know? And then it was like, boom, okay, the opportunity came to me, and now here I am. After 15, 16 years of being a teacher, it's a long time.
You're a great teacher. You're a
Oh,
great teacher. I
thank you.
remember seeing some of your classes, and I feel like for being a teacher, you need to be very passionate about it. If you don't like it, you're gonna hate it, and you also need to be very creative. And I remember that you were a very very creative teacher. So I feel
Thank
like
you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
yeah, it's tough sometimes. You know
Yeah.
that it's tough. You have to think like, what am I gonna do next? Oh, they've already, I don't know, done this activity, and you really have to learn. But it's tough, but it's a very rewarding job
Yeah.
in terms of you get the chance to inspire um, different people to connect with others. You learn a lot from your students as well. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Wow.
it's a very rewarding
Well, thank you, Mariana, for your words. Now it makes me feel
job.
better to do more for my profession as well as you. Now, in some of your pictures that I've seen, I can see that all your students, they have happy faces. And probably it's because of you, because
Uh,
they love you, because they respect you, because they feel something more than being their teacher. How do you feel about that?
to be honest, I feel like somehow you always connect. It's not just like going to work. It's not just like going to teach. Um, I feel like you build like a kind of a relation with your students, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very nice. And it's very nice to take it to that next level. Like not
Mm-hmm.
only go to work and not only teaching something, but also like inspire them or I don't know, helping them like somehow besides English or just whatever you're teaching. So I feel very happy about connecting with people. So yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, now talking about that connection, and I can make a comparison with your pictures, all of your pictures behind this situation that we are having right now. Yes, about the COVID-19. And then you posted another picture like a week ago. Yes, in which you go back to school right now after 3 months being there. And I can see a difference in the kids, the
Let me tell you
masks.
something. I noticed like the first days I could tell that it was not the same.
Hmm.
Um, like I used to have like very loud groups, and these people it was like having different people.
Hmm.
They were like very quiet. I feel like they were kind of scared because to be honest, it's something new that we're dealing with.
Yes,
It's
totally.
something new, and we don't know how to deal with it. So maybe that's why like the first 3 days they were like a little bit shy. They didn't know how to react. They didn't know what was good or what was bad. So
Mm-hmm.
it took us like maybe a week or more till getting like again back to track and having them participating and just being themselves. So yes.
Yeah, what you say is very important because it's different when kids go on time, okay, for vacation, but it was totally different. This situation was not expected. So of course the kids when they come back, they're gonna come like, oh, we are here again. What is it gonna be? So now, what do you think about what is coming next? How this situation will change the way we educate to kiddos in the future?
Mm, I feel like it's a real challenge right now because it's something that no one was expecting
Mm-hmm.
and not all of us were prepared. I feel like no one was prepared. But for some schools it was easier to get adapted to do online teaching.
Mm-hmm.
But for some others it was hard because the facilities, the equipment, the use of technology in schools is different.
Yeah.
So like I feel like this was a wake up call for everybody. Like, what do we need to change? Not only in education, but also like I've seen some businesses that had to adapt their whole company, their whole business to these new realities. So yes, it's a wake up call to start changing and growing as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Just one question now that you come back. Like, how many students do you used to have in the classroom? Now, when you come back to the school again, like that face-to-face education, are there the same kids, or you are having like some face-to-face and some others online, or all of them in the same group?
Oh, okay. So let me explain you how was like the first week. The first 3 days, like when we came back, we tried to take like a lot of measures. We were using mask
Hmm.
obligatory, like all of us.
Yeah.
We were checking temperature. We normally sit like the students. Like, do you remember El Tec?
Hmm.
Like in a U, like one
Yes.
next to
Okay.
another.
Oh.
So we tried to change the way they sat. So they tried to leave a meter between each of the students. We were clear with the rules, like no touching, no high five, no anything.
Yeah.
Wash your hands, hand sanitizer. That was like the first 3 or 4 days, and people like students were very obedient. You didn't have to tell them do not take your mask off. They were very obedient, but also as part of their culture here, they're already used to the mask. We always use masks for driving because here we use motorbikes and
Mm.
people normally have their masks on, so it was not hard to for them to get adapted to wearing
Yeah.
masks. Then we received an email about saying that masks were not obligatory anymore,
Mm.
that they could take them off, but kids didn't want to. So I was like, I remember I was in class and I was like, guys, now masks are not obligatory. Like, you can take them off. No one did it. And you
Oh,
cannot
wow.
force them because, of course, parents might have different rules or might have told them different things. So I just tried to not to push them,
Yeah.
to go back to, yes, just let them be. And then, like this last class that I had yesterday, like it's been 2 weeks. I've
Hmm.
seen like some students already taking off their masks, but it's like half of the group. We normally have around 10 or 15 students in this private center, but in
Hmm.
public schools, I have around 50 students. But I think like some of the schools have been back a few days ago,
Hmm.
but I don't know how they're dealing with the students because one of my students told me that in her school, they are splitting the groups because
Hmm.
groups are in public schools are really big, like 40 students
Wow.
or 50 students. So they try to split the class, and I think that they were studying in a different time. So
Okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna go back to public schools tomorrow, so I'll see like how
Oh,
is the
okay.
new
Perfect.
reality.
Well, you are sharing very excellent and great ideas. I mean, when we go back to school here in the States, those are great ideas. Thank you. Yes, we can always be learning from different people. Now, you mentioned something very important that when you go back to school, so kids cannot touch, like be close to each other, no high five, no many things that we used to do to socialize, yes, with others, to interact as human beings.
Hmm.
So, how this situation you think will affect or will not affect is going to be different in the future? That lack of interactivity, because in the past we used to interact a lot. Games, I mean, during the break, during the recess, during lunch. But right now we have to be spread. We need to be separate. How is going to change this situation?
Let me tell you something. Like at the beginning, it was a challenge for us because we have different levels. We have uh, from kindergarten to secondary.
Hmm.
So it was kind of hard because we normally, for kindies, we normally dance, we normally do um, team activities, we normally
Hmm.
interact. We're
Yes.
together. How can you tell a kid, a 5-year-old, like just to stay there, do not move, dance on your same spot, but do
Yeah.
not touch anyone? It was hard. But they were very obedient. That's what I'm telling you. Like, I don't know what parents told them, but they were
Hmm.
very obedient. They were not touching anyone. It was not a problem, to be honest. But I don't know what happened in their house. But like after these 3-4 days, to be honest, we're kind of back to normal. Still, like we are using hand sanitizer,
Hmm.
um, being very strict with washing your hands and everything. But we're like this last week, we already started integrating just the normal activities that we used to do.
Hmm.
So yes, it was just like the first days, and it was a challenge also for the teacher because you're like, what am I gonna do? Like we normally do different activities that require, being close to people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Now, more ideas you're bringing to us. That's incredible. Now, yes, as I said in the beginning, okay, you're always smiling. Yes, you are always very happy. Now, has been your experience of a Mexican teacher teaching in Vietnam? Totally different culture, totally different language, totally different food, totally different everything. How has been that experience of yourself being there?
um, it was hard from the beginning because before coming here, one of my options was going to go to Canada or China. I never pictured Vietnam as an option. Like every time that I thought about Asia, you think in the big ones, China,
Mm-hmm.
Japan, and that's all what we know. And I had no idea about what was living here in Vietnam and anything about this country. So the first, a thing that it's unknown for you, unfamiliar,
Mm-hmm.
makes you feel scared
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. So I remember like before doing this trip to Russia, because we were going to go to Russia and then jump here and move totally to Vietnam with my boyfriend. Um, I remember saying, like, let's just go to the World Cup and just stay in Mexico. Because, like when there's something unfamiliar, you feel afraid. So
Yes.
I was afraid, I was scared, but it was also something exciting because when you don't know what to expect, everything is like, wow. And I remember the first year for me was like, wow, everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
you like every day was a new adventure, new experience. And we have definitely like there are a lot of things that are very different from my country, uh, comparing this country to Mexico, but there are also like some similarities. So I would say I would start with the food. Food, food here, it's very healthy in my own opinion. I compare it with the Mexican diet.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like in Mexico you cannot have a healthy diet, but everything is so delicious, tacos and everything. So it's like kind of hard, to have a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And here, like there's like no option. It's like healthy, kind of healthy everywhere. So I always have breakfast here on a place next to my building, and they always serve you steamed rice and fish and soup with
Oh,
veggies or chicken, and that's every day. So
wow.
at the beginning I lost a lot of weight. I was like a little bit chubby when I moved from Mexico to
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam. I lost a lot of weight, and I've learned to love the food here as well. So yes, food is completely different. That in
Mm-hmm.
people are real. They like to interact with foreigners. They always stare at you and ask you like, where are you from and what do you do here? And they're very friendly people. They always try to help you
Mm-hmm.
or give you whatever they have um, to share.
Yeah.
They're very nice people. And also the safety here. I would say the safety here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
It's
very, yeah.
no, it's totally different from Mexico, as you said. Well, not totally, but many things comparing. I mean, I'm not saying that Mexico is a bad country. Mexico is a great country. I love
It's
the
a
food
great,
from Mex. I love culture, food, people from Mexico. But I mean, you have the opportunity to compare both cultures, I mean, people
yeah.
from one country and the other.
It's not like you have to pick one country, because I
Mm-hmm.
love my country.
Yeah.
Mexico, it's wonderful. Um, the food, everything. Like every time that people ask me, like, where are you from? I always tell them, go to Mexico. You're gonna have a great experience.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to pick one. I'm just, comparing like the differences. Some of the similarities is like here you can find a lot of street food. In Mexico, we do have that.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes chaos,
Yeah.
we do have it here and we have it in Mexico. So yes.
Awesome. Again, well, thank you so much. Now I'm very interested to go on to know a little bit about the Vietnamese, Vietnamese culture, Vietnamese people. Okay, so that's one of my goals when everything is ready to go there. We don't know when, but
Yeah,
I would love to go and visit you because you're gonna be an expert guide. Yes, with the people there.
yeah. I feel like I'm already a little Vietnamese, to be honest.
That's great. Okay, have you learned some Vietnamese language? Have you learned some
No,
words?
not the language, but
The
maybe the
language.
manners.
Oh.
um the language, oh my gosh, it's been 2 years and I
Mm-hmm.
haven't learned a lot, to be honest. I took some classes, but then I had to do some other stuff. And the thing is, like, here you don't need to you don't need to know Vietnamese to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can survive with English, and most of the people here speak English. English is like really part of their, I'm not gonna say culture, but it's part of their life. Like, they really
Oh.
want to learn English here. So every time they get the chance to practice or to speak with a foreigner, they prefer to speak in English. And I remember, like, the first days I was trying to, practice my Vietnamese, but I was speaking Vietnamese and the Vietnamese person was speaking to me in English, and I was like, oh,
Oh.
I get it. Yeah, yeah.
That's too
So
fun. That's
maybe
funny.
that's why I've been a little bit lazy, because I know that I do not need it
Mm-hmm. I mean,
to
English is
communicate.
great. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I haven't put like a lot of time and effort, but I would definitely love to
Yeah,
learn the language.
I mean, because I've heard some of Vietnamese people talking here in my school. I got two families who are from Vietnam,
Mm.
and it's really hard, you know. Okay, so I ask him sometimes, hey, tell me some words in Vietnamese. I do not understand anything. It's very hard, that language.
No, I feel like the pronunciation,
Mm-hmm.
it's different. And then, oh my gosh, when they try to explain me the words and how important are accents, and if you do
Mm-hmm.
not write with the proper accent, you're saying something completely different. In Mexico, like accents are really important,
Mm-hmm.
but you can survive. You like the meaning is the same.
Yeah.
The meaning is the same of the word. It does not change. And here, if you do not use the proper um,
Accent.
accents, you're saying something completely different. So yes,
Oh,
words
jeez.
words are smaller. You
Uh-huh.
know, like there are plenty of differences. Yeah, with the
Oh,
language.
that's really interesting. Now, talking about the cultures and talking about the schools, now you can compare education in Vietnam and you can compare education in Mexico. Can you see some differences between those two cultures in education?
Oh my gosh, I even wrote some notes here
Mm-hmm.
just to remember.
Yeah.
There are a lot of differences. I'm going to start with grades.
Mm-hmm.
Grades here for the Vietnamese students are everything. Like having a bad grade for them, it's like it's really meaningful for them. And I think that they feel a lot of pressure from their families and parents to have good grades. I don't know if like having good grades it's a way to please their families or parents or to show that they're doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed that they have a lot of pressure from their families to have good grades.
Yeah. Oh.
So that and maybe I would say creativity as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like here, the education is more focused in learning math, in learning chemistry, in learning all these, um, objective subjects,
Yeah.
but they kind of put apart the creative, um, their creativity.
Mm-hmm.
They do not pay a lot of attention in these kind of activities. Um, like here in Vietnam, we do not have a lot of museums. I
Mm-hmm.
tried to compare it with Mexico City. In Mexico City, we have a lot of museums, and we have art, and we have uh, paintings and sculptures and many things related with art and creativity. And here we do not have a lot. So I feel like that's one of the biggest differences, the creativity.
Oh.
Um, Also, what else? Oh, yes, the hours they spend in class.
Oh.
So here, yes, like here in Vietnam, education for families and students and for everyone is a priority. So I have kids that have no days off, no days off. So they study from Monday to Saturday. They go early in the morning, like maybe 7 a.m. Then they have a break, like from 11 to 1.
Wow.
Then they go back to school and finish at 5. And then they jump from their school to an English center. So they end up their day at 8 or sometimes 9. Some others take like even extra math classes or some other subjects. And then during the weekend is the same thing. So yes, the hours they spend in school, it's way different that we do in Mexico. So yes, sometimes students have no days off, to be honest.
Wow, that's a lot. But I mean, that's why most of the Asian countries, they are people who are very well prepared, ready, and they know a lot of math, as you say, chemists, they know a lot of physics. They are really creative, not in the way of the arts, but yes, in the way of the path that we are following, the globalization, you know? They are always creating new things. That, and you mentioned that because they spend a lot of time studying and studying and reading and reading. I was reading something that there are some schools that students they sleep in the schools, but not in the university.
Yeah.
Yes, since elementary or middle school, they sleep there. It's like, wow, yes.
It's
And
because I feel like they're honestly like physically tired sometimes. I've had the experience to work for public schools and the private sector, and I
mhm,
could tell in public schools that they were like they were kind of stressed and
mhm,
sometimes tired. I could see like some of the students were like really like sleeping
mhm,
because they like they do not have like enough time for themselves. So I feel like in Mexico we're more relaxed, to be honest. Like we enjoy school. We care about grades, but like for us having a 7, like we have from 0 to 10, having a 7, it's like okay. um of course there are like a lot of brilliant people, brilliant students. I remember having brilliant students, but I feel like we joined the journey, more
mhm.
than feel like the pressure of families to I don't know, like to have good grades.
Well, from my perspective, I think that grades are important for families, not for teachers, because you know that all kiddos they are different, all students they are totally
Yeah,
different, and a grade doesn't tells very well the abilities or the skills that a student can have. I mean, we just follow the standards that they're coming from the state or they're
yeah,
coming from the country,
agree.
but the creativity is very important in all senses, as you mentioned. But well, thanks for the comparison.
Yeah,
Now,
I try to tell my students that okay, grades are important, yes, but it's not everything. um I've seen some students who struggle with different things but are good at some
mhm.
other things, and it's okay. Like after you finish school it's gonna be totally different, and you're not gonna go and ask for a job like this. These are my grades. Like it's more like your interview and some other things. So yes, grades are important, but there's also something else.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Mariana, I mean, we can continue talking and talking and talking, okay, without end. Okay, but I know that you have some stuff to do today. And I just wanna thank you a lot that you are here. I just hope that we can spread this podcast and we can spread the news of what you're doing there in Vietnam and here in the States. We can learn from your experience and from your words. So now, is there any last message that you want to send to the students, to people?
Oh, to all of my students, I love them with all my heart. I had a great time with all the different groups that I had in Mexico, here in Vietnam. Uh, yes, just to tell them that I love them so much, and that just enjoy as much as you can, because like those days are never gonna go back.
Mm-mm.
After you finish your school, it's something completely different. So just enjoy the journey. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Mariana, thank you so much again. And
Thanks for
uh,
inviting me.
oh, well, okay, it's my pleasure. I mean, I feel very happy that you are here. Believe me. And well, there is last thing that I would like to ask you. I know that you learned some words from Vietnamese. How do you say goodbye in Vietnamese?
Oh my God, I have no idea how to say goodbye, but I know how to say hello.
Ah,
Xin
okay.
chào. Xin
Can
chào.
Ting Chao?
Xin chào.
Ting Chao?
Yeah, xin chào, hello.
Oh,
But I've
okay.
never, I've never even, I don't know, thought about how to say goodbye.
Well,
Or cảm ơn, thank you, cảm ơn.
come on. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's like come on in English,
Yeah, like,
kind of,
come on. Yes.
right?
Oh, come
Yeah,
on. Okay. Come on is
cảm
thank you.
ơn. Yeah, but it's like a different pronunciation. Cảm ơn.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, Mariana, come on. A lot. And now you can also speak español, es nuestra lengua natural, yes. Y en
Es
español decimos adiós,
gracias, adiós,
gracias,
te quiero,
adiós,
todo.
todo, todo, todo. Mariana, gracias.
Cuídate mucho,
Un
Víctor. Muchas gracias
abrazo,
por
cuídate.
invitarme. Nos
Hasta
vemos.
luego, cuídate. Bye
Abrazos.
bye. Chao, bye.